Alright guys, hi. 4-month update of raw meat. What I've been eating so far, raw meat obviously, except for crab and lobster, which I ate, which is kind of gourmet food. That was cooked because that's the only way you could get it here. But otherwise only raw meat. I also ate nuts in the first 2 weeks or so, but I stopped that. And I also noticed that since I stopped that, I have a lot less thirst because of the fiber, I suppose. Because I eat a fiber-less diet, basically a shit-less diet. So then there's also eggs, which I ate for 2 months, 10 every day, 10 raw eggs. But I stopped it a month ago, and now I only eat raw meat and cottage cheese. And I also eat butter in between. And I eat the cottage cheese because the cuts of the meat nowadays are not very fatty. Unfortunately, otherwise you could eat meat and that's it. Because in the flesh, even if it's animal flesh, there's everything the flesh requires. Even though a lot of people would call that a one-sided diet, I don't agree with that at all. If you cook meat, it would be different. If it was cooked, because the water-soluble vitamins, vitamin C and B, they are destroyed when you cook. But I get them from the raw meat anyway. So it shouldn't even be called raw meat anyway, it's just meat. There's meat and there's cooked meat, but nowadays we gotta point it out because hardly anybody eats that anyway. So I wrote down a few things which I want to mention, a few updates. One thing is about the food poisoning I had from the bone marrow. It turns out that us living creatures, animals, humans, when we get something toxic inside of us, we actually store it in our bone marrow. So it's all those toxic metals and stuff. If you have ingested it or something, ate it in some way or somehow, or breathed it in, chemtrails maybe, then it's in your bone marrow likely. And actually a way to detox from this is to eat animal fats such as butter or simply from meat, or also cheese, especially from raw milk. Otherwise, a lot of people who don't eat fat, they are not able to detox and detox their bone marrow. So obviously this animal had this bacteria, this sort of harmful one, in the bone marrow, because that's just how we do it, we just store it there. So that's as far as that goes, because I've ate so far mostly beef, lamb also, which are my favorites, and then also chicken and turkey, which I'm not a fan of in the raw form. And I've probably ate at least 40 kilograms of raw meat in this time, and I've had no ill effects. It's been very pleasant. It's the best diet I've ever been on. I've never felt this good. I've never had such great skin also since I was about 14, 15 when my skin started turning red, as in pimples and eczemas and whatever. Also, never heard of anybody being allergic to meat. Not saying that there's no such thing, but there's always only plant allergies. And this is just another thing which shows that, and that's how I see it now, that meat is most definitely, raw meat, the most perfect food for humans. There's just no comparison. It's everything that is essential. The essential fatty acids, the amino acids are in there, and all the vitamins, all the minerals. And nowadays the diets, there's no such thing as an essential carbohydrate, right? Because it's not essential, it's just a little boost now and then. Also, the cases of food poisoning are from cooked meat. If you have never read about this, because people always caution to eat raw meat, but such things as salmonella and all are from cooked meat. And generally when you cook meat, the toxic bacteria and the toxins form from the cooking and this is something that people never talk about. And human bodies are 80% bacteria, so obviously taking antibiotics, as I've said many times, is very it destroys your health, basically. It destroys your body. And raw meat, especially which some people do also eat rotten meat, is very probiotic. And I've never tried rotten meat. I've tried some meat that was expired, so to speak, but I didn't actually make it rot, so ferment it I didn't ferment it on purpose, but it's something I may try sometime. And there's a lot of fear mongering of parasites and such when it comes to that, but I've read so many people who eat this way for years and they've never had anything, and of course it can happen, but at this point, even if something like that did happen, that wouldn't even scare me off, because the benefits of eating this way totally it just makes it worth it. So that's pretty much it. Oh, one more thing. Stool. When I was cooking meat and eating a typical ketogenic diet, my stool many times had no smell at all, or almost no smell. Definitely nothing where you would go in the bathroom and say, oh, who's been on the toilet or something. And also no gas and such. I still don't get hardly any gas, and even if I do, it has hardly any smell, or nothing off-putting. But my stool does have a smell now, but also nothing like off-putting. And this is nothing to be ashamed of or something, because it's the bacteria which makes it smell, and that's also sort of a sign of health in a way. You could argue that. So that's that.